Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Jamil, and today I'm going to be taking you through another lead code. On today's menu, we have lead code number 832, flipping an image. It's an interesting one. I think it might be a little complex for those who haven't seen questions like this before, so I'm excited to try and cover this. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the question, and I'm going to start off by reading the description. So we are given an n by n binary matrix image, okay? An n by n matrix is essentially just like in the sense of JavaScript, is going to be an array of nested arrays. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to flip the image horizontally, then invert it and return the resulting image. Okay, so what does that mean? So to flip an image horizontally means that each row is reversed. Okay, so for example, 110 now becomes 011. Right, so you take the numbers and you flip it backwards. Okay, and to invert an image, we must take each 0 and replace it by a 1, and each 1 to replace it by a 0. So we have two things that we need to do in order for us to flip an image. Okay, first we must take each nested array and reverse it, and then give the opposite number. So, and when we have our input image of 110, 101, and 000, we are returned with 100, 010, and 111. So how did we get there, right? So first you reverse each row. So 1, 1, and 0 reverses to 0, 1, 1, and then 1, 0, and 1 is just the same thing, and so is 0, 0, and 0, okay? And then the inverse of the image is we replace 0, 1, and 1 with 1, 0, and 0, because those, like, you flip every 0 to a 1 and every 1 to a 0. 1, 0, 1, similar thing, you end up with 0, 1, and 0, and 0, 0, and 0 ends up being 1, 1, and 1, right? Again, it's a simple matter of flipping each number. In our constraints, we're seeing here that n is equal to the image length and n is equal to image I.length. So we will always have, so if we have an array with four nested arrays inside of it, each nested array will have a length of 4. Okay, simple enough. And our arrays and the length of our arrays can be up to 20 digits, so we must be able to handle all of that. And image ij will either be 0 or 1. To make it simple for us. Okay, so let's start off by figuring out what we are being passed. Even though, like we just went over the question, it's always good to have this written down. Okay, so we are being passed an array with nested arrays containing either zeros or ones. Okay, perfect. The nested arrays must remain in the same order, right? The original array being passed can be mutated within reason, because what we're doing is we are trying to flip the image, so we are going to be mutating the original array given to us, and we will be returning a different answer. Okay, we don't have to concern ourselves with any special characters or alphabet letters, as they won't be included in our argument being passed. Okay, and what should we return? We need to return an image of the a flipped image of the original image, right? So what does flipping mean? So it means, which means we need to take each row, reverse it, and find the inverse. Okay? Perfect. So without further ado, let's start building out our problem. At this point, usually I would build out like test cases, but since we are working in leak code and they provide us with test cases, I'm not going to do that. It's probably something that you want to do though, and get familiar with in an interview. Okay, so since I know I am going to be returning an array of nested arrays, I'm going to need to create a variable to hold all of my nested arrays, right? So create an array to hold, oh my goodness, all of your nested arrays. Okay, so let answer, I'm going to call it a number of numbers, an array with nested arrays. So that's why you have two square brackets in TypeScript. And I'm just going to leave this as an empty array. Okay. See, you notice how it is not underlined in red. It's not giving me an error because if I did this as well, these are technically both true. However, if I did this, right, you will start to see that even though this is a valid array, it's valid technically, it's not what type we are assigning it to. So you will see a red squiggly line telling us that there's something wrong. Cool. So now that we have created an array to hold all of our nested arrays, we need to start iterating over our array, and we need to start doing a bunch of operations, okay? So iterate over the array. Perfect. So we're going to use a for loop for this, which is also a number, equal to 0. I is less than image.length, and then I++. All right? Now I need to create a temporary variable. A temporary variable to hold the reversed and inversed image, nested array. Okay, and this is very important. I'm using this wording very carefully because what I will be doing is I will be doing another iterator. I'll be doing another iterator over my array, and individually targeting each index. I'm going to be doing the reversal, and then the inverse. Okay. So now we have let j, which is a number, equal to 0, and j is less than image I, dot length, j++, right? So image I refers to the internal array that we are dealing with, okay? This is the nested array. Since, I didn't create a temporary variable. What am I saying here? Let temp, which is also an array of numbers, right, equal to an empty array. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pushing this empty array into here, creating a nested array and returning an array of arrays. Okay, so let's see how we get to that. Where I'm going to leave a note here, say iterate over the nested array, and do your operations and push them into the temporary array. Okay, so what I want to do is if I am going to be adding something in a reversed order, right? If I am working from my way from left to right, 1, 1, and 0, 0, 1, and 1 is the same thing as saying 1, 1, and 0 from right to left, right? Because if you're reading from right to left, this is 1, 1, and 0. And so how do you do that? Instead of adding to the end of your array, what I will be doing is I will be reading from the front of my array and then adding from the back to the front in my temporary array. And there is a method for that in JavaScript, and I believe it's called the unpush method, where essentially what it is doing is we will be adding to the front of the array each time in order for us to see what is happening. So let's see here. So we're going to say temp.unpush image I, which refers to the nested array, but then I need to know the index of each, like unshift, not unpush, unshift. The basically like the 0, the 1, and the 1, right? That's what this j will indicate to us. So after we do this, let's take a look at console.log. We'll do ants and temp, okay? And I need to return something here. I'll return 2 arrays and 1, okay? Let's see if this is doing what I want it to do. All right, so 0, 1, and 1, which is 0, 1, and 1, 1, 0, and 1, 0, 0, 0, right? Oops, not temp, but answer. Oh, temp, the unshift, this is correct. And then what I'm going to do is once this is done, outside of here, I need to push it, answer.push temp, right? So once I have 0, 1, and 1 built, I need to push that into my array. Let's do that one more time. Sorry, I forgot that one important step. right? So we will learn how to unshift, and then we will learn how to push into our array. You see this here? So 0, 1, and 1 was pushed into our nested array. So if I say this here and this here for the sake of clarity, take a look at this. Answer is 0, 1, and 1, and temp is 0, 1, and 1. In line 17, we pushed temp into answer, okay? Then we ran the second iteration of our loop. So now I is equal to 1, okay? When we figured out that temp was cleared out again in line number 12, right? Because every time we do a new iteration on our I iterator, we clear temporary, and then we reassign it to a empty array. And then we start pushing the reversed order into it. We figure out what the temporary array is, and then we push that into our answer. Okay? But we have an issue here. Right? These are 0, 1, and 1, 1, 0, and 1. They are not the final answer that we are looking for. We are still looking for one final step. Okay? Which is to reverse the temporary array, and then add it to to the answer array. Okay. So for the sake of clarity, I'm going to pull this back down so we can see our full list of our full code, and we'll go from there. Okay. Now, I do want to make this a little. So I do want to make this a little bit simpler for myself, because what I'm going to do is in my unshift here, okay, I can knock out the reversal and the flipping of the image in one step, okay? In my internal loop, I'm going to get rid of this here, line 18 and 19, and I'm going to move line 17 into my secondary loop, okay? I'm going to say reverse the temporary array and add it to the reverse the temporary array and then add it to the reverse temporary array, and I'll get rid of this, and then we'll say add the answer the temporary array to the answer. Okay, so how do we go about not only reversing our image but also flipping the numbers from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0? I'm going to say this. I'll cut this out, and I'm going to say, if this, since we know it is equal to 0, right? If image ij is equal to 0, temp.unshift the number 1. Okay? Else, temp.unshift the number 0. Okay? And let's take a look at this again. We will do answer.push. We're going to say temp here. And then we are also going to say console.log. Oh, let me put this above here, and we'll say answer and temp. And let's take a look here. Okay, so we did a little bit of manipulation here. We knew that if the answer was 0, we needed to flip it, and we needed it to be 1, right? So we see here 1, 0, and 0, right? Temp is 0, 1, and 0, 0, 1, and 0 as we expected it to be, and then 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so we have essentially taken care of both steps of reversing the array and flipping the number from 0 to 1 in lines 14 to 21. In lines 14, what we did was we made sure to reverse our array by adding to the front of the array instead of adding to the back of the array, right, using the unshift method. And then we figured out that if the number was 0, that we were looking for a 1 instead of a 0, right? So if the number was 0, push a 1 instead. And if the number was 1, which is what this else is, push the 0. Right, and I didn't have to say else if or anything, because this constraint right here, images ij, is either going to be a 0 or a 1. And you can be a little bit more specific. You can say else if, you know, this is equal to 1. You can temp unshift 0. It's the same thing, but you're saving a little bit of code because in the constraint it tells you it's going to be either or. Okay. Now what we can do is we can return our answer here. And we will say return the final answer. And let's see this. Oh, maybe I should take care of my console logs. But essentially what happens is we come back with our expected output. Okay, so we have now successfully flipped the image. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of that, and I am going to submit the answer. I know it's kind of hard to see since we are working on lead code here. Since I'll have to use the editor and then show you the results here. But I think it's kind of nice to know what it's like if you are working on lead code, and then to see what the solution may look like. So we see here that the solution works. Is there an improvement to the solution? And yes, there is, right? We can get rid of this conditional using the XOR operator. So if you've been paying attention to any of the earlier videos, you will notice that the XOR operator deals in binaries. It deals with zeros and ones, okay? There is actually a method to the madness. I'm going to get rid of this here, and I'm going to replace this lines 16 through 20 with one line to reverse the 0 and 1 using the XOR operator. So what I'll say here is I'm going to say temp.unshift, which is the same thing. Nothing's changed there. But I'm going to take image ij, right? So image ij in this case is either going to be a 0 or a 1, and I'm going to use the XOR operator, and I'm going to say 1. So image ij XOR 1. And XOR 1, what that means is that if image ij comes back as 0, 0 XOR 1 is 1. Okay, because like when you're familiar with the XOR operator, if the XOR operator is comparing a 0 and a 1, it will come back as 1. If it's comparing a 1 and a 1, it will come back as 0. Okay? So if we do this and we submit this answer again, so temp.unshift image ij XOR 1, we will see that we come with a similar solution, a similar answer. It works. It's perfect. Okay? So what I will do is I will be taking this answer and I will be uploading it to my GitHub. If you want to take a look at it, if you want to play around with it, it's always there for you to see. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends. Maybe you learned something here today. Maybe you can share something with them. Leave a comment in the video below to let me know what you learned. I would really appreciate that. And once again, my name is Jamil. Thank you so much for joining me today for another video. And I hope to see you with the next one. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next video.